Good morning, and welcome to your AIDailyPress morning podcast for June 24, 2026. I'm your host, Walter. Firstly, in international news, the European Union has held a historic meeting with a Taliban delegation in Brussels. The talks focused on migration, security, and humanitarian aid, but human rights groups have expressed concerns about engaging with a government accused of widespread abuses. EU officials emphasize that this meeting does not imply recognition of the Taliban government. In another development, Ukraine's targeted drone attacks on Crimea have pushed the peninsula to the brink of crisis. The strikes have resulted in fuel shortages, power outages, and disruptions to daily life. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has confirmed that military facilities were targeted, while Russian military bloggers are criticizing the Kremlin's lack of response. Lastly, we're following a significant shift in U.S. foreign policy as President Donald Trump signals his intention to refocus on the war in Ukraine. This comes after a brief diversion due to the U.S.-led conflict with Iran. Experts remain cautious about the prospects for a lasting resolution, but this development has raised hopes for a potential breakthrough in stalled peace efforts. These stories and more will be discussed in depth throughout the day on AIDailyPress. Now for the latest in social and cultural news, here is Barbara Waters.
Thank you, Walter. We begin with the surprise announcement that General Chris Donahue, one of the U.S. Army's most seasoned and respected officers, is set to retire as soon as today. This move comes as part of a broader overhaul of senior Pentagon leadership by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. We'll continue to follow this story and bring you updates as more information becomes available. In other news, we're watching developments in Colombia, where right-wing candidate Abelardo de la Espriella has been declared the winner of the presidential runoff election. The results have sparked controversy, with supporters of leftist candidate Iván Cepeda taking to the streets in protest. We'll keep you updated on this developing story. We're also following reports that Iran says its military is ready to respond amid threats from President Trump. And in a tragic incident, investigators are looking into a fatal crash involving a Tesla that was allegedly in driver assist mode. A woman was killed when the car crashed into a house. Finally, an Olympian has been arrested after a protest at the Reflecting Pool in Washington, D.C. The athlete claims they did not damage anything during the incident. We'll have more on these stories and others throughout the day. Now for the latest in business and finance, here is Louis Riskweiser.
Thank you, Barbara. Firstly, we take a look at SpaceX's valuation and its potential for growth. With NVIDIA, Alphabet, Amazon, Microsoft, Apple, and Taiwan's semiconductor manufacturing generating significant profits, some investors are opting to invest in these established players instead of taking a chance on Elon Musk's ambitious venture. We'll continue to monitor the situation and provide updates as more information becomes available. In other news, global markets took a hit yesterday as semiconductor stocks declined, dragging major indexes down. The Nasdaq and S&P 500 closed at over one-week lows, with concerns over debt-funded AI spending, and a potential interest rate hike by the U.S. Federal Reserve contributing to the downturn. Investors are advised to remain cautious and monitor developments closely. Lastly, we examine the cryptocurrency market, where a historically accurate contrarian indicator is suggesting that Bitcoin may be nearing a bottom. With MicroStrategy's CEO Michael Saylor remaining bullish on Bitcoin's long-term prospects, and the company planning to raise additional capital to fund its Bitcoin purchases, investor optimism is growing. The broader cryptocurrency market is also experiencing a surge in interest, driven by growing adoption and investment in the space. Now for the latest in science and technology, here is Carl Starman.
Thank you, Louis. Firstly, we have the announcement of SpaceX's Starship program, which aims to enable routine access to microgravity environments for scientific research and in space manufacturing. This technology has the potential to revolutionize industries such as pharmaceuticals and semiconductor alloys. Secondly, NASA's plans to return humans to the moon by the end of the decade are facing challenges due to the outdated infrastructure at Kennedy Space Center. A new watchdog report highlights the need for significant investment in the spaceport to support the growing demands of NASA and its commercial partners. Lastly, we have the exciting collaboration between NASA and private companies such as SpaceX and Blue Origin to develop crew landers for the Artemis mission. However, the report warns that Kennedy's launch infrastructure is not yet ready to support the increased super heavy launch cadence required for this ambitious undertaking. These stories showcase the rapid advancements being made in space technology and the importance of responsible innovation. As we continue to push the boundaries of what is possible, it is crucial that we address the challenges head-on and ensure that our infrastructure is equipped to handle the demands of space exploration. Now for the latest in sports. Here is Howard Closewell.
Thank you, Carl. First off, we've got NFL legend Tom Brady announcing his retirement, marking the end of an era for the sport. We'll dive into what this means for the future of football and how Brady's legacy will be remembered. Next up, we're examining the controversy surrounding the Protect College Sports Act, a proposed legislation that aims to cap athlete compensation without their consent. We'll break down the numbers and explore the potential motivations behind this push, asking the tough questions. Is it really about competitive balance, or is it more about revenue distribution? Last but not least, we're analyzing the Dallas Mavericks' surprising decision to hire Dusty May as their new head coach over John Shire. We'll weigh the pros and cons of each coach's decision, discussing what this means for their respective careers and the future of their teams. These are just a few of the stories we'll be covering on today's podcast. Now for the latest in travel and human interest, here is Charles Curall.
Thank you, Howard. Firstly, in a landmark decision, the U.S. Supreme Court has ruled on a case that may have far-reaching implications for individual rights. However, our first story today actually focuses on a recent development in politics. In New York's 21st Congressional District, Anthony Constantino, endorsed by former President Trump, has won the GOP primary, setting the stage for an interesting race in November. Secondly, we're looking at a pressing environmental issue from Canada's Arctic region. Indigenous guardians are sounding the alarm over the devastating impact of expanding road networks on migratory caribou populations. Their research and monitoring efforts highlight the urgent need for community-led conservation initiatives to protect these iconic creatures and their habitats. Lastly, while not directly covered in our stories today, we often reflect on the importance of local narratives in shaping national discourse. From the heartland of America to the Arctic landscapes of Canada, it's the personal connections and community dynamics that truly define our collective story. These stories remind us of the complex interplay between politics, environment, and community, and how each affects the others in profound ways. As we continue to explore and share more of what America and its neighbors have to offer, we invite you to join us on this journey through the often unreported but always inspiring landscapes of our continent. Now for the latest in fashion and entertainment, here is Joan Streams.
Thank you, Charles. We've got some exciting news to share with you today. First up, we're sending love to Yolanda Hadid, who's reportedly engaged to real estate developer Randy Kendrick. The 58-year-old former model and reality TV star has found love again after her highly publicized divorce from music producer David Foster in 2017. We could not be happier for her. In other news, it seems that on-screen chemistry can sometimes turn into real-life romance. Our Hollywood Romance Roundup highlights several celebrity couples who've taken their on-screen relationships to the next level, including Anna Paquin and Stephen Moyer from True Blood, Ted Danson and Mary Steenburgen, and Yellowstone co-stars Ryan Bingham and Hassie Harrison. And finally, our thoughts are with actress Anna Paquin and her family as they navigate some exciting times. We'll be keeping an eye on all these stories and bringing you updates as more information becomes available. Thanks for tuning in to the AI Daily Press Morning Podcast. Stay entertained, informed, and inspired, and we'll catch you back here tomorrow. Now for the latest in nature and environment, here is David Attenacher.
Thank you, Joan. Firstly, we have an inspiring story from Sabah, Borneo, where scientists discovered a newly identified parasite of parasites, dubbed a hyperparasite. This extraordinary organism targets and parasitizes other parasites, specifically zombie fungi that infect ants, revealing another hidden layer of complexity within tropical ecosystems. Secondly, we're drawing inspiration from the remarkable story of the Epsteins, who are preserving our natural heritage for future generations. Their dedication to environmental conservation reminds us that each of us has the power to make a positive impact on the environment. Lastly, we're discussing the recent corrections in prominent scientific studies and the importance of transparency, accountability, and rigor in maintaining the integrity of the scientific process. As Dr. Maria Rodriguez notes, mistakes happen, but it's how we respond to them that matters. By acknowledging and addressing these errors, we can strengthen our understanding of the world and build trust with the public. And that completes our morning podcast for today. Thank you for listening. Until this evening, I'm David Attenacher for AI Daily Press, the world's most unbiased news source.